I'm keeping him alive.
Okay, is he not breathing?
Barely. Stay alive. Stay okay, move it. Yes. Stay okay. Good job. Keep staying okay, okay? Okay? There you go. Good job, Danny. He's barely breathing. How many times have I tell you?
Okay, you know what, ma'am? You be still with yourself. I'm not going to deal with this, okay?
No, I can't.
The Albuquerque Fire Department says the operator did dispatch an ambulance to the victim before hanging up. The teenager was rushed to the hospital where he later died from his wounds. After a brief investigation, the 911 operator turned in his resignation. What do you think?
I think that in a case of emergencies, in a case of panic, people say things. I say those words all the time when I'm even not panicked and in a case of emergency. And I'm sure these operators are well used to this kind of language in these scenarios. And this man must have been having a very, very bad day. It wasn't her words that made him do that. It was something that he was going through himself.
And that's the thing, like, if somebody's dying that this person loves, you expect manners. It's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. First of all, when you're panicking or when you're emotional, you're not even in the part of your brain that controls manners. You're in a more primitive part of your brain. It's not possible.
And you know, to me, no matter what was going on with that dispatcher's day, the dispatcher speaks with the authority of the chief of police. So there's a higher standard for this person. So in saying that you're not going to handle this and you hang up on someone who is in need, I'm glad that this person resigned, and I would hope that the Albuquerque Fire Department and the police department will review their standards and make sure that they're hiring the type of people that understand what they have to do. It's not just the standard of where you work. It's a moral standard. Even though he dispatched the ambulance, what those people are supposed to do on the phone is talk you through life-saving techniques. The reason you ask if someone's breathing is because if they're not, you try to walk somebody through CPR techniques to keep them breathing until the ambulance came. So by hanging up on her, he was depriving her of the knowledge needed to keep that person alive. That was the problem. That's a moral imperative.
And I would think one layer of the job is also knowing how to cope with someone who's in panic mode, knowing how to help that person and help that person help the person they're trying to help.
Yeah.
It's a tough job, and I'm glad he resigned.
Mm-hmm.
So now an update about a dear friend of the show, Emmy-winning actress Valerie Harper, who shot her show Rhoda right here on our stage. Valerie reportedly collapsed last night in Maine while she was performing during her musical Nice Work If You Can Get It. She was taken away by ambulance, reportedly unconscious, and Entertainment Tonight is reporting it does not look good for her. As you may recall, Valerie has been battling brain cancer, although the cause of her collapse has not yet been released. Of course, Valerie is in our thoughts, and she is in our prayers. We'll be right back.
Okay, the truth of the matter is, dispatchers are borderline cops. Number one, dispatchers ought to automatically know that anytime somebody's calling them, that they are in a panic mode, like what they were talking about. And in a panic, manners go out the window. A person, like when I was calling the dispatchers about these boom car punk motherfuckers in Panama City, Florida, where they could have very easily have contacted the right people. I'm sure they had the right people to contact. And they could have said, look here, we're getting a lot of calls about these boom cars. We need to get rid of these boom cars because this guy, he will not give up calling. Because that was my right to do that. And the thing is dispatchers, how do we know that a lot of them dispatchers, from what I understand, they're very closely related to the cops. and they probably are somebody that's next in line to become a cop or something like that, and they got the cop attitude. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this low-life motherfucker that hung up on him, even though he sent an ambulance, there's no way for them to know. So, the situation was, this motherfucker ought to be prosecuted. For the facts are, not only did he hang up, but he left him hanging, not knowing what the hell was going to happen. And so accountability needs to be punishment for these motherfuckers. The arrogance of a dispatcher. They ought to be trained, and I bet you they probably are trained, that you will hear cussing because people are frustrated. Just like when I cussed out, I didn't cuss directly at a dispatcher, but I said these goddamn motherfucking boom cars, and I tried to force it to a jury trial. That's right. June 15th, 2015, I was supposed to go to a jury trial where I was going to put the fucking cop in prison. That idiot fucking clown in Panama City, Florida. I was going to prove that he was protecting American enemies, not by my words, but by the Florida statutes, 876 of the Florida statutes. Not only that, that cop conspired with the American enemies, these boom car punk motherfuckers, and I was going to bring up the fact on the United States Code Title 18-241-242 was a $10,000 fine and 10 years in prison. I was going to do my damnedest to put that fucking cop in prison. That's right. To where he would have to fucking be shopping for 90s so he could entertain his cellmates for a good 10 years. And they knew it, too. So the truth of the matter is, anybody that's in a cop's position, anybody who's in government position, they have this arrogance about them that when they call the cops, automatically the cops side with them. They don't side with the person that they were called. Example like this in Bay County, Florida. I was trying to safeguard people who've been getting their bikes stolen at the Bay County Library. A so-called library director by the name of Robin Shader insisted that people cannot park their bikes close in at the library, using lies about the facts are that, well, somebody might run into the bicycle, but they ignore the facts are that, let's see, strollers come in, walkers come in, baby carriages come in, people on canes and crutches and everything like that. But they were so concerned about somebody running into a bicycle, well, gee whiz, they got corners on the pillars in the library there. Why don't they pad them too while they're at it? So the truth of the matter is there is an arrogance of people. Just like this Cincinnati cop, of a campus cop, shot and killed somebody because they didn't have a front license plate on their car. Now, I find it awfully interesting in the state of Florida, you don't need a front license plate. Matter of fact, I think it was in Walton County, there was somebody who got run over by somebody, and there was no way that I could identify him. They could identify him because they didn't have a front license plate on their car. So the truth of the matter is, there is an arrogance of anybody that is in a nonprofit corporation. There's an arrogance of anybody that's connected with government in any way. And it's like once they get in, they do a convenient lie. To get in, they take their oath, then they do a convenient lie, and then they do as they damn well please. But all they got to do, just like the so-called sabotager-in-chief of the United States, he took an oath before he got his position. Well, I guess that was just a convenient lie. Well, he could go to jail for many, many years under United States Code Title 18-241-242. Not only that, he could be jailed immediately Let's see. What kind of sabotaging has he done? Let's see. He knowingly allowed a deadly disease called Ebola on the grounds of the United States soil. He knowingly allowed enemy invaders to come from the south on Mexico. Let's see. He knowingly allowed homosexuality to be allowed anywhere in the United States now. Thanks to Bill Clinton, he's the one that one time they would do their damnedest to root out homosexuals in the military. Well, he started this shit called Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Not only that, on the law books there's something called sexual orientation. What the fuck that means, I don't know. But now they protected a perverse and disgusting lifestyle to where life cannot be produced by a man and a man and a woman and a woman. So the truth of the matter is, any time that you argue with anybody that's in government, it could be at a council meeting, it could be at a city meeting, automatically the cops are looking to arrest you, but they don't look to arrest the person who took an oath to swear to protect the people's rights, and yet they will target the person who is complaining, or maybe they might be a little bit longer on the stand or something like that, airing their griefs in a lawful manner. Yeah, I find it awfully interesting. Once they get in their position, take their oath, which is, I consider a convenient lie, just like Brittany Forrester, who was going to prosecute me, Jimbikeman, under harassing phone calls 365 of the Florida statutes, okay? As far as I'm concerned, she did a convenient lie. She violated her Florida bar oath to become a mercenary for the state's attorney's office. So, now the day when oaths are, you understand that if you violate this oath, any time after you've sworn this oath, you will be prosecuted and put in prison. And there will be no appeals whatsoever. It's the day that we have a chance. I've created something called an Oath of Arrest and Prosecution. PDF, Oath of Arrest and Prosecution, that can be downloaded. Only one page and can be forwarded by email. Anywhere email goes. Anyway, Jimbikeman signing off.